Okay, we are getting all the bubbles out of the line. We have 4 different streams that we multicast on, and so it's going to take just a second for all the different delays, everything to get caught up with each other, and we should be able to go live in about 2 seconds. Let's look and make sure that everything looks good. We look good on Facebook. Oh, yeah, I think we're good there. All right. All right, let's check the sound. We had a problem with our sound earlier, so I got kind of slow starting on this. See here.
Jolabokaflod.
Hopefully everybody was able to hear that. What we're doing, and my name is Charles Longino. I'm the graphic designer at ASPTs and Gifts. I apologize for the delay this morning. We usually do this live stream every day at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, every weekday. But this morning we had some problems with our audio. I have hopefully gotten it worked out. If I don't, if you have any issues with the audio, please leave me a note. Let's get this one around so this is in the right direction. But just, type me a note in the comments down below, and I'll address it. But hopefully we're all good at this point. So what we're going to do is, yesterday during our live stream we talked about a very cool holiday in Iceland. And actually, I was corrected yesterday. It's not a holiday. It's a tradition for Christmas Eve. And it is called
Jolabokaflod.
And what that means is book flood. It's a book flood. And I'm very excited about this design. I think it's going to look super cool. I'm not sure how big a market is. I know that there's 350,000 Iceland people in Iceland. But the market beyond that I don't think is that huge, probably. And we are not doing it. We're going to do it in English. Well, no, we're not. We're going to put the English version of that word on our design. But so anyways, I'm very excited about it. It's a very cool tradition, and what it comes from is kind of like most traditions, out of necessity. After during World War II, just like in the United States, there were there was restrictions on the different things that you could use and supplies. But one of the things that weren't restricted was paper. And so for the holidays, it became a tradition to give books. And people in Iceland tend to read a lot of books. They read about, on average, 8 per year. So this is a super cool tradition. What they do is they get the books, they give each other books for Christmas Eve. And then they get all snuggly. They hunker down with their book on Christmas Eve, and they eat chocolate and read their books on Christmas Eve. And I just think that's fantastic. So obviously, I enjoy reading. So this is kind of I think this will be a neat design. I've got some interesting ideas for it, and we are going to start creating it today. Again, I'm sorry for the delay. The other thing I would like to point out, because of the sound problems this morning, I was not able to do the drawing, but I will do it this afternoon for this past week, and I will let you know who won tomorrow. But if you guys will make a comment in the comments below, not only would it be greatly appreciated, but we do this drawing once a week. You'll be entered in next week's drawing for either a t-shirt or a tote bag, anyone that you like from our store. We're constantly putting up new designs. We have lots of different designs up there. I think just about everybody can find something that they like, hopefully. If not, I'm sure you can find a design you think one of your friends might like. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to recap quickly about a little bit more about this holiday. It's called
Jolabokaflod.
And like I just mentioned, what it means is a book flood. So we're gonna open up what we did yesterday in here, and of course, oh, of course that box has to be right over there. So there we go. Let me open that back up. Did I do it? Yeah, there it is. All right, and this is what we did yesterday is we were just kind of concepting it out. And you know what we had talked about doing. I didn't think I had split it up or something. But anyways, this here is a pillow. Let me get my pencil. Get this here. All right, see this this box here? Goes up and around. That's a pillow. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw basically a pillow, and then I was gonna put the name in English, the English version of
Jolabokaflod.
right here, or on the pillow, and I was going to actually try and incorporate it into the pillow by cross-stitching it into the pillow, giving it that effect. And I can do that in Photoshop. I'm not going to sit here by hand. I don't think, maybe I will, but I don't think I'm going to sit here by hand doing a cross-stitch. So what I'll do is probably take, you know, that word, type it out into a font, bring it over into Photoshop. I can easily go in there and make it look like a cross stitch, bring it back in, and I can also do a displacement map in Photoshop so that I can make it look like a pillow. So probably what I would do is get a picture of a pillow, use that as my displacement map. Anyways, I'm getting into more detail than you need to know. Regardless, I'm going to bring it into Photoshop. I'm going to make it look really cool, look like a cross stitch and a part of that pillow. Now, up against the pillow, we are going to lean up a book. And I had put this all here. That's gone. That's going to be gone. And, you know, what we'll do is over here, we are going to put some chocolates leaning up. And I was thinking of like little Godiva squares. If you've ever had a turn down service, you know how they put a chocolate on your pillow, kind of like a few of that, you know, that size. What would that be? About 2 by 2 inches, just to give you a proportion. And then, you know, put a stack of those there so you can, but you got to be able to tell it's chocolate. So, you know, I'll probably stack it and take a look at it. If it doesn't look right, I'll probably do, you know, I might do a bar of chocolate and just write chocolate on there. And then, you know, I wanted to show that it was, you know, kind of Christmassy and a holiday. So I might put a pine cone here or like a sprig, you know, there. But then again, does anybody really want something like that on their bed? I don't know. So if that doesn't look like it should be there, it looks kind of weird, I'll probably take that out. Now this right here is going to be the break between the wall and the bed. So we're going to have a little bit of a separation there. We're going to do a little bit of shadowing here. It'll be solid on the side of the pillowcase. And then around here, I thought it might be cool if we had, well, first I was thinking of it kind of like blocks of it, but, you know, this might be neat if it was like a wooden headboard and we might have like some Nordic type art, maybe kind of a runic look to it. You know, and we can also make it look like it's woodcut. So, you know, kind of give some age to it, make it look a little bit older. So anyways, this is the grand plan right here. And we're going to put this name up here. So, you know, let's get started with it. If anybody knows about this tradition, you know, please leave us a comment. I would love to hear about it. It sounds like a great tradition, and something I think I am going to participate in this year, because it sounds really good to me. And this word here really kind of goes into another word that I've heard about, or my wife told me about it. And you know what's weird is I heard it on a commercial last night, but it's Nordic, I guess. Maybe it's Norwegian. I don't know, but it's from that area, and it's Hygge, and it is pronounced here. Hygge, 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 and it is a word that translates into coziness. And what it's about is it's about, you know, I guess the best way to explain it, you know, if you've seen the commercial, you might know, but you just get kind of cozy, like in front of a fire with your family, you snuggle in, and it's just, you know, something that would be a time with the family and would be just kind of a cozy, nice evening. I can think about, you know, like a nice warm soup and some, for dessert, some hot in front of a fire, you know, no music on, no tablets, anything else like that. Just spending time with the family, hanging out, and just enjoying each other and just enjoying visiting. To me, that's what it sounds like. So anyways, back to this, and we will make sure our sound's working.
Jolabokaflod.
So, oh, I forgot to do this. I always like to do this. Ta-da! Super cool. Anyways, leave us a comment. I can't mention enough. Please like us. We're on every day during the week at 10 o'clock. We are going to be working on designs through concepting, creating. You don't get to watch us ship it out or make it. I don't think you're interested in that. But the other thing that I'm going to be doing is, I'm a graphic designer. I would like to get better at illustration. And so I'm going to be working through some tutorials and taking on some drawing challenges, and I might do some of that here. If I can't get anything planned, I'll just have a doodle day. And so that's where we are, and that's what we're going to do. And so let's get to it. All right, the first thing I want to do is take a look at some references. And you can simply go to Google, and then you can just pull up some images. You don't want to copy the images, but, you know, just to give you an idea of the shapes and everything. So we will just take a look at some pillows. And the thing that I'm looking for here is, you know, obviously I want to be able to get that shape of that pillow. The things that are going to be difficult, and we talked about when we create these designs, we have to keep in mind the printing process and how many colors we're going to be using. A lot of people will come in here and think that they will have a grayscale image and think it's only one color. It's not. Each variation of gray is a separate color. And so they could have a grayscale image that might have, you know, 20 different shades of gray in it. So, you know, we generally like to try and keep it to 1 to 2 colors if we can. Otherwise, we have to commit to doing a run. And, you know, we don't like to do that unless we know what kind of market we're going to be looking at and how long we're going to be floating that inventory, so on and so forth. But occasionally we do some runs. The problem with it also is you have to, you are limited to selling the t-shirts that you print on. And so it doesn't give the buyer the options that they would have otherwise. So we try to keep it to 1 or 2 colors if we can. That way we can, you know, 1 or 2 off print these, and it'll be pretty straightforward. So when I'm looking at these pillows, and, you know, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for something that's not going to have a lot of grayscale in it, shadowing, where we can do it pretty straight. You know, I want to be able to see, you know, a fluffy pillow, so we're going to have some pool marks on the edge. It's going to pull the middle sides in a little bit. The corners are going to stick out a little bit. We want to be able to show that without having to show a lot of shadowing. And so, you know, if we had to, if we can't make it look good, then we would add another color and just do the shadowing in one other color. You know, another way to get around doing that is doing crosshatch, and so, or some stippling. So, you know, there's some artistic techniques out there that we can use as well. The problem with doing a lot of the cross hatching and the stippling is it makes it look like it's an old book print. And so it gives it a little bit of a vintage look, which isn't the end of the world. But, you know, it was a lot more popular, that look, a few years ago. It's popular now. But what I have found about, you know, t-shirts and these types of items is, you know, people are looking for what it says. Any kind of t-shirt is a reflection of them. Obviously, the type of art you use is going to be a reflection of their taste. But more importantly is the message that it's conveying. And so if somebody is from Iceland and this tradition has been significant in their life and they see a t-shirt about it, they're more inclined to buy it, even if it's not the perfect kind of art. Now, my stance on it is, because this is a holiday, you get a lot of that country style look into the holidays, and therefore I think that, you know, if we ended up doing some stippling or some cross hatching, it would be fine, because, you know, it has that kind of look anyways. And even if I had other options that I was looking at, I would go in that direction. The other thing I wanted to address real quickly is people might be saying, you have a direct-to-garment printer, why don't you just use your direct-to-garment printer? What a direct-to-garment printer is it looks like a huge, it takes up about a quarter of the size of a room, and it's a gigantic inkjet printer. And you insert a shirt and it goes in and comes out. The problem is that if you have any kind of dark shirt, you need a white underbase, and to keep any kind of bleed through coming through, and to also give you the vibrancy that you would want. And then you have to use a special treatment in order to do that, and the treatment stains some color t-shirt. It washes right out. It's eco-friendly, the treatment, but you know, you can't use it on every color available. The other problem that I find is if you use an underbase, it breaks down a little faster than it would if you used traditional screen printing inks. And you know, one thing we want is our images that we produce on our t-shirts last longer than the t-shirt itself. So I tend to avoid the direct-to-garment printer and use it more on wall hangings and things like that, unless I am doing printing on light t-shirts, mostly like a light gray, a very light blue, or a white. But a light t-shirt where I don't have to use an underbase. And so that's what I'm looking for there. So back to taking a look at the pillows. All right. All right. Easy peasy. Get that camera back up. You know what? I'm just going to keep this here, exit out, and open a new. All right. We want to leave a little bit of extra room on this, so that if we decide to do that headboard, we can come back and do it. But you know what I would do is simply draw on one layer, kind of 4 points, and try to make it proportional. Blue. big. All right. Looking all right. It doesn't have to be exact. It's actually easier for me to look here. You know what? The other thing. Turn brightness a bit better. I keep it low for when I'm using the battery. All right. So what we're gonna do is just give it some general sketch lines. You know, I would probably shoot for about here as it comes bows in there. It's going to be less on the top because it's a longer line, and so you know we'll just put that as a here, light indentation. And we're just going to grab another layer, and we are not going to have two sharp corners, but let's just take one at a time. All right, like I said, it's a pillow. It doesn't have to be exact. I actually think these lines here are probably coming in a little much. We'll bring it out. All right, I think that looks pretty. And as we go around, we'll probably, you know, work on it a little bit more. And, you know, we want what we want to do also. And, you know, at this stage, we're just going to try and give it a little structure, kind of sketch it out a little bit. And then we'll go in there and clean it up and do a little more detail. But this right here, we want to have some pull marks on the sides. And so, and the other thing is, you know, if you stretch something, the line's not going to be as smooth as this. You know, we're going to have a little bit jags as it's kind of pulled. As we get closer to the edge, they'll smooth that a little bit. But, you know, here where it comes in a little bit, and we can grab the eraser here, shrink that down, and maybe. All right, how's that look? Very pillowish? I think so. So, grab this pen. Let me grab my glasses. Oh. All right, we can what I'm looking for is I really want to grab one that's going to taper. Problem is it also has smoothing. That's supposed to look there. All right. Let's see. There we go. You know, we can taper it down a little bit more with an eraser. You know, we don't want to make huge marks here. We just want to indicate that, you know, it's pulling in these areas. And you know, this is hard without doing the shading. It's never going to look quite as good. You know, you can come in here if you have another color like a gray, kind of work on it a little bit. But you know, we don't want here. That's the other one. Same over here. I can give it that feel that it's being stretched a little bit. With all of that comfortable filling off. Low filling. You know, if we get curved it a little bit, you know, that would give it more of an indication that it is being pulled. That looks better. Back over here and do. I get it right. You can do it, you know, extra line in there. It looks. So you can see that, you know, we're making it look stretched a little bit. And some other little marks in here too. So the tighter it is more it's going to pull in different areas. It's going to pull more towards the middle too. And all these lines have a pull like that. You know, you're going to have varying thick. Generally, as it wraps around, you're going to have a little more shadow in there. Touch. All right, so what do you think? Does that look kind of like a pillow? Are we heading in the right directions? Do a little bit here on the top, smooth out the corners a little bit better. You know, we don't want an acute angle. We want a smooth angle on the edges because it's a pillow and it's full of stuffing, and um, you know, we want it to look like that. This is not a throw for the sofa. Anyways, if you're just joining us, I'm Charles Longino. I'm the graphic designer at Ask PTs and Gifts, and today we are going to be working on a design for an excellent holiday called, second here, I never have my cursor where I need it, but it is called
Jolabokaflod.
So what it is it's an Icelandic tradition of, and it's called book flood. And what happens is on Christmas Eve, they give people in Iceland give each other books. It comes out of the rationing after World War II in 1944. And, you know, people from Iceland tend to love to read anyways. They read it on average 8 books per year. And so they exchange books for Christmas Eve, and then they go get in bed with some chocolate and they get really cozy, and they read their books, which is a great way to me, sounds terrific. Not only would it be exceptionally fun to do, it is a great way, especially for the younger ones, for them to get tired and go to sleep instead of staying up all hours excited about Santa Claus coming. So anyways, what we're going to do is we had concepted the design yesterday, and we are actually going to be sketching it out today. This here is our pillow, and the idea is that we're going to have a pillow with a book up against it, and some chocolates, and maybe, you know, some holiday looking items. We were thinking about, I'm thinking about doing a headboard around it with some either Icelandic runes, and I said I was going to research it last night. I didn't do it, but I will get to it. And you know, some Icelandic runes, or you know, some more Nordic type design to it. And I might decide that that's too busy and just put it out. I don't want it to distract from the overall design, but if I feel that it adds to the feeling of it, I'll put it in there. I apologize. I just got over a cold. I think it's still lingering a little bit. It is a nice and sunny day here, which is terrific, but the light that's coming through that window is turning this into a solar oven. I'm going to turn on the AC. All right, let's get back to it. You know, we had some sound problems that hopefully we've gotten worked out. I'm going to take just a second here and go and look at the chats. If anybody is experiencing problems with the sound, please let me know. Can I show the main screen a bit larger? I was asked, which software are you using? Is it Illustrator? No, I'm actually using it on my iPad. And so that's why I have it constrained to the dimensions of the iPad. I'm actually reflecting it onto my computer. And you can see here, I can move this around. You can see where it's reflecting on the computer. And then I'm just pulling that into. So, you know, the only way I can zoom in and out is through here with the canvas. And I'll be doing that periodically, zooming in and zooming. And but what I will do is when I'm done, I'm going to put the word of the holiday up at the top of the pillow, and I'm going to pull that into Photoshop. I'll probably save it as a high resolution, probably about a 300 dpi PNG, and then pull it into Photoshop. I'm going to do the word so it looks like it's cross-stitched, and then at the end of it, I will pull it in and separate everything depending on how much colors I end up using. I always start with 1, and if I can't get it to look good, then I'll go to 2. If I still can't get it to look good or look the way that I like it, then I'll keep adding colors to where I want to be. The idea is to use the amount of colors possible because of the restraints of the printing process. And so, but you're right, it will be pulled into Illustrator, and it will be vectorized. And just like on my review of the software that I'm using here on the app, it is a rasterized program, which means everything that you do is destructible. It goes back, I think, it used to be 20 steps. I think it's longer than that now on the undo, which has always been plenty for me, but I still separate things out into layers when I'm drawing each part until I'm happy, and then I'll merge it down so that you know, I can make corrections without destroying anything. So that's a quick quick thing there. Again, I just want to make sure, let me turn this there like that. I just want to make sure that the sound is good for everybody. I had a heck of a time this morning with the sound. You know, I use OBS and I'm on a Mac because that tends to be what designers use. and I used this open broadcast software, and I found out that it was picking up the sound from my mic, but it wasn't picking up any of the sounds from the desktop. So whenever I tried to do something cool, like pull up the pronunciation for a word, like the one we're working on,
Jolabokaflod.
it wasn't coming up in the stream. So I downloaded a driver yesterday. There were some glitches. Morning was a disaster. We ended up starting late. But you know what? Here at Ask PTs and Gifts, we persevere. You know, we don't let small challenges like this stop us. So anyways, back to it. I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much for leaving a comment, because we are going to enter you into a drawing, and we do it once a week. The drawing that I was supposed to do this morning, I couldn't because I was having sound problems. After the live stream today, I am going to go in and do that drawing, and so I will announce the winner tomorrow. But for the people that are leaving comments today, you are going to be entered into next week's drawing. And the winner gets a choice of a t-shirt or a tote bag of any of the designs that we have on our website. We're constantly adding up new designs, obviously. And so, you know, but anyway, so that's what we're giving away. So please leave a comment. You don't have to, you can, and be anything simple, just say hi. Hi, or you can just let me know where you're watching from. I always find that interesting. And we'll enter you into the contest. So please do that. If you can take a moment and like our page or subscribe or give me a thumbs up or you hit the wow button, that's always nice. A little bit of love on Periscope, you know, hit that love button. It matters a lot. And also on Twitch, you know, you can follow us on Twitch as well. So anyways, I'm going to get back into it. So this is our pillow that we've started. You know, it's going to look a lot better as we go along. We'll come back to it. We'll revisit it. But, you know, on these corners, on just about all of them, you're going to have some pulls. And the way that it's going to look is it's going to pull out this way. And you're probably going to have one that pulls out opposite like that a little bit. I might actually bring it over a little bit. Or, let me get rid of it. Okay. And that doesn't look quite what I wanted it to. But see, you know, we tried to keep these over here on the side kind of corresponding with each other, you know, in about the same intensity to it as we did on, you know, all the way down. But here on the corner, it's going to pull a little bit differently. You know, you're going to have a pull more in this direction. And you might even have like one more. I'm going to get rid of that last one. Too much. Yeah, because it's so rounded, I don't think they would be right next to each other like that. It would look more like that. You know, we might have and you can, you know, you can kind of shape these lines and give them a little bit more of a curve by just kind of erasing a little bit on one side. And you can see how that is. Now, when we go to print, you know, we can print very fine detail. That's not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned more about having, you know, and it depends on what size, you know, when we screen print anything, we have different mesh sizes. They can go down to as low as 40. And what that means is there are 40 holes per inch on that screen. So that means it would actually be pretty big holes. The higher the number, the smaller the hole. So we can have a screen that goes up to 350, and so, or 305 rather. I'm sorry, 305. You can't get them higher than that. But you know, if you go to 305, that means there's 305 holes in 1 inch. So that means that you have a very fine mesh screen that you're working with, and so it's going to restrict the amount of ink that's going to go through it because it's so fine screen. It's going to have such small holes to it. But you know what it does is it'll hold the emulsion, which is what we stenciled the design out of, to allow us to do more fine prints. So, okay, so that's kind of how the corner would look. Now, the other thing is that, you know, if you have a corner like that, you know, it's pulling tight, and, you know, this right here might, you know, start moving down that way. And, you know, you might get, you know, a little bit more kind of in there. And you can go in, again, with the eraser and kind of make it a little bit smaller, you know, because it's not going to be pronounced as the other ones on the edge. So anyways, we can do some things like this. You know, we want to do this to each corner. You know, this corner, let's clean this up a little bit. Hold on just 2 seconds. Want to. Okay, that's on YouTube. Yeah, we're relatively new to streaming. There's a lot of different components. I'm getting it worked out. You know, we've had sound issues. We've only been doing this for about 2 weeks. I cannot for the life of me. There's 2 things that are driving me out of my mind. Is this camera, no matter if I put the setting on it, not to turn off, it still turns off about every 20 minutes. And I've got to turn it back on. The other thing is that I've got to try and figure out how to aggregate the chats. So if anybody out there knows any way to do that, please let me know. I tried Discord and I wasn't able to do it, but I would really love to pull the 4 streams into a single chat. It just makes it easier for me. Otherwise, I've got to go through each tab to see if there's any comments. And unfortunately, sometimes, you know, people are waiting to get a response from me. But anyhow, all right, so let's get down here and let's do this corner here. We're going to do it kind of similar to what we did up there. And we'll give it a pull here. Give it kind of a little bit of a pull there. You know, we don't have to do anything in the middle there. We don't want to. Give it a little bit of thickness. Then you come in here with the eraser, you know, and then depending on how where you want to make this line a little more pronounced, you know, you want to erase on that side and just kind of narrow it down, and then that way it looks like, you know, the tension on this cloth is going in that direction. And you know, that's where you want to make those creases, is where you think the tension's going to be pulling it. And here, you know, I don't think that's quite natural. We're going to have a little. That's definitely too big. Oh, how's that look? That looks good enough for now. I generally like to put a line or 2 here, near the edges, because you're gonna have, you know, you're gonna have a little more tension there. Well, no, you're not gonna have more tension than the sides. Let me rephrase that. But all right, around. that. Okay, I'm gonna step away from. I gotta take this call real quick. Boop. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me get back to it. Too patterned over here. So that's, that's the hard thing, is trying to, get these lines in here and not make it look like, okay, I'm going to do 3 lines here in every corner. So, this one will just, I put in the middle a little bit, a little more darkness. Like that. All right, there. Then up here, the same kind of thing. Put 1 line there. Now, the tops and bottoms, we're going to need to crinkle up a little bit and do those as well. This line, this crinkle here, where you can tell it's kind of smooth it out a little bit, a little bit. Right. What we're really just trying to do is just give it a little more dimension to the illustration, so it's just not a bunch of straight lines. And here, you're going to have a little more, where it's tighter, it's actually probably going to be thinner. Wouldn't think that, but areas where the back to it. So and we got to be careful with the bumps that we make, because if it has enough cushion stuffing in it that is kind of pulling it tight in certain areas, we don't want it to look like the cloth is too loose. So any areas where we look like maybe I had overdone it a little bit. Now, if we wanted to, and you wanted to give it even more dimension, I had talked about doing some cross hatching and some stippling, and I just realized not everybody might know what I mean by that. What's weird is YouTube is showing that I'm offline, but I'm looking at the live stream right now, and it seems to be coming through okay. So anyways, if you do stippling, all you're doing is making little dots, and that's a nice way that if you're using one color, you can kind of give the illusion that depending on how close your dots are together, some shadowing. And again, that adds more dimension and makes the design more dimension, but it makes the design more interesting. So let's, clear that out. Now, if we did cross hatching, it would be, well, we would use much thinner. But what you do with cross hatching is, let's say this is, an edge. I wanted to create some, or even if it's just on the pillow, but I want to create some shadowing on the pillow. And what I might decide is, okay, the light is going to be coming down from up here. So that what that means is that there's going to be kind of a line at the top of that, but I don't want to come in here and just draw a line like that. That doesn't look very good. So what I'm going to do is I would come in here and I would cross hatch it. So I would just take it where the shadow's a little bit deeper there and just draw some angled line. And then if I wanted to make it really dark in a certain area, I would continue doing it. So, and if you have a picture with a lot more of that, you can come out here, obviously. This isn't a great place to use something like this. But that's essentially how you would do it. And then you can come here and then you can see. You would use, first of all, you would use a finer nib than what I used. I didn't pull it down enough so that those lines were a good bit finer. And the space in between, the smaller the space, the darker the shadow, or the smaller the white space, if you know what I mean. So anyways, let's get rid of that. And if I did anything on this, I might come in here and do just a little stippling around the edges. So again, if you did something like that, you would have to stop and think about the medium that you're using. By doing something like that, what I'm doing is committing to a higher mesh count screen. So I'd be looking at a 305, and there's challenges for doing that in production. You have to use a different kind of emulsion where you can get more detail out of it. You would also have to use a lot more care when you're washing out the screen that you don't wash out the small dots. The other thing is if you use a high mesh count screen, you're going to have to use a lot more force. If you're doing it manually, pushing the ink through. If not, you would just have to set up your automatic appropriately. But anyways, so you've got to keep a couple of those things in mind. It's not a huge deal. But the other thing you want to do is knowing your mesh count and the size that you're doing this at, how large you want to make those dots. These are probably just a little bit on the smaller. And so the bigger dots that you use, the less of an effect it has. So, I generally try not to use it. Stippling. Sometimes I do. I don't want to say always, but I try to get it to add more dimension and depth just by making thicker and thinner lines, and try to do it just in black. Then on this line, you might So, okay. So that's good enough. I do want to come over here, focus about the same attention to the other side. Ooga. Need to get my hooga on. In that commercial, they're pronouncing it a little bit differently. But when I looked up the pronunciation for it, it has it as Hoog. Hooga. Okay. All right, those two sides are looking better, right? I think so. So we are going to now, let's get rid of that. For our purposes, it's not such a big deal. You know, if you're doing light and perspective and all that, you want to know where your light source is. We're not getting into that much. Oh. Okay. Take a second and check the chats. Yes. Now this is actually on the tops and bottoms, probably going to have more wrinkles than the sides would, or at least the wrinkles or the inconsistency of the lines would be more pronounced. And this is because there's going to be less tension because it's a longer seam on the top and the bottoms. So That looks pretty good. Excuse me. Somebody asked what software that I am using. This is a wonderful app. I did a review of it the other day on a live stream, but it still should be recorded on everything. Called Sketch Club. It's a terrific app. I really enjoy using it. It has a lot of little features in it that just makes it awesome. And so I encourage everybody to check it out. I don't get paid to send people over to them. I just happen to really like the app. But I've tried just about every kind of drawing app for the iPad. And this is by far my favorite. It is rasterized like Photoshop. It is not vector. So that just means that whatever you do is destructed. Your pixels. And all that means is that you just have to be conscious of it and a little more careful. And also it means that you will lose pixelation when you resize. You are using a vector type app. That's not going to be a problem for you. So anyways, we're going to do a couple small pulls on the top and bottom, but I kind of like the way that our pillow is shaping up. It looks like it's actually a real pillow and has been used. So that's what we're trying to get. And again, I apologize for starting the stream late today. I had some audio problems this morning, but hopefully everybody's audio is coming through great. I haven't seen any complaints so far. So, please let me know if there's a problem. This mic is always just a little bit in the way. Put it right here and then I can see around it. I think it's better to have it in the shot than not to be able to see through it. All right. Okay, I will ask everybody right now. Let me do this real quick. I love this, as everybody knows. Ta-da! Super cool. Love it. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm going to keep working for a little bit longer, but I did want to, again, extend my apologies. I know we don't have as many people on this morning because I ended up having to start the live stream late because I was having problems with the sound. I tinkered with it yesterday thinking I was improving things, and wow, what a mess I created. But I think I have it fixed, so that's always a good thing. If anybody watching can leave a comment down below, I would really appreciate it. It'll also enter you into a drawing. We do a drawing once a week from anybody who leaves a comment that can pick out either a t-shirt or a tote bag of any of the designs that we have in our shop, and we'll make it and we'll send it out to you at no cost. Obviously, it's a prize, But anyways, today the t-shirt that we are working on has to do with a terrific Icelandic tradition that on Christmas Eve they exchange books and then they get chocolate. They get cozy in their bed on Christmas Eve and they read their books that they were given, and they eat chocolate. And it's a great way to tire everybody out and get the kids calm so they can go to sleep in anticipation of, despite the anticipation of Santa Claus coming the next morning. So, I thought it sounded like a great tradition. I was making the mistake of saying holiday yesterday. Somebody corrected me. It's a tradition. It's not a holiday, but it is a wonderful tradition. And I know that this year I am going to partake in this tradition, and so the much maybe to the children's dismay, but we will collect all electronics. Probably light a fire in the fireplace, hunker down, read some books as a family, enjoy some chocolate, and I think that is a great thing to do on Christmas Eve. So we invite you to do it as well. I'm not Icelandic. I just heard about this, read about it. They did a piece on it on NPR, and it just sounds fantastic. So we are working on a pillow. Yesterday in our live stream, we concept out the idea that we're going to do, and now we're in the process of realizing this by creating the design. So the first thing that we did is we started drawing out a pillow. I got on Google and just looked at a bunch of pillows, so I had a good idea in my mind, how things were going to lay, creases, so on and so forth. And what you want to do when you do that is you're not looking for something to copy. What you're looking for is almost the physics behind it. Okay, there's less pull marks on the top and the bottom. Why would that be? Probably because it's a longer stream and there's less stress on those two streams because it's longer and the stuffing's not going to have that much of a pull on it. Now, because the seams are smaller on the ends, you're going to have more of a pull on those seams from the stuffing. So you're going to have more seams on the ends. That was my takeaway. That's what I think, based on the pictures that I looked at. And so then, we got into our drawing app. We don't have any references here. There's nothing on my screens. And so, we just started with 4 dots in the corners and we just started sketching out the way that, a pillow should look. We've all seen pillows plenty of times. I don't think that we need to, spend a lot of time guessing on what it's going to look at. I don't know why I went through all that, but I did. Here's the thing. We are going to, after this, we're going to lean a book up, an open book. And this is, I was working on drawing a book for something else. Let's save this and go back here. I was wondering, now the pillow's leaned up too much. Yeah, I didn't think about that ahead of time. That maybe if I lowered the pillow down, but still, that I don't think that's what I wanted. So anyways, I'm going to have an open book here. Let me grab another layer so I can show you quickly what we're going to do. I'll probably do a book leaning back. Whoops. Oh, jeez. What am I doing? All right, so we'll do a book. Anyways, you get the idea. We're gonna have a book here, yada 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 yada. Kind of leaning up against the pillow. And then I was thinking that I would stack some chocolates up, some Godiva style chocolates, about the 2 by 2 inch squares. And they're not going to stack up, perfect. Like that. Might have one kind of leaning there. Another one that might be half fallen. Anyways, you get the idea. But then I was thinking, are you going to be able to tell this chocolate? you know, if you don't see some sort of name. So, you know, that being said, we might come in here and just draw like a candy bar and write chocolate on it. Everybody knows it's a chocolate. I might have it overlap the pillow and the book a little bit. You know, that would give me a chance to do a little bit of perspective drawing with maybe a little bit of shadow there. I don't know. You know, we're gonna have, you know, a little bit here. And, you know, we would need to give it a little bit of dimension in there. You'd see less on this side here. So anyways, and then this would say CHOCOLATE, chocolate. And then, you know, we could put, you know, I was thinking of making it looking festive and, you know, everything else by putting a pine cone. You know, that looks always kind of very, you know, natural, and that is an absolutely horrible pine cone. But anyways, maybe some sprigs, you know. Something there. It wouldn't be holly. Maybe, you know what I might do? You know, this is what I'm going to do. Is turn that. First, I'm going to turn this back on. First, I'm going to figure out, I'm going to say, why did that move? Turn that back on. Come over here, look at the chats real quickly. Chatty chat. I'm not missing anybody. Okay, everything looks good. But I think what I'm going to do, instead of doing that, you can see I'm backing it out of probably, you know, we're talking about it being destructive and non-destructive. I'm just going to clean this layer. This isn't, you know, this isn't going to be anything drawn, you know, right now. But, you know, I just might put, you know, those cool little holly leaves that go, you know, kind of like come to these little points. Fun and pretty easy to draw, you know. Anyway. That was the bottom of that leaf. I would have to take a look. Anyways, you have the bottom of the leaf. And then, you know, here you're going to have some, you know, cool berries. Not going to be able to display the red berries. It's too many. But anyways, you get the idea. And then we'd put another one here. Bump, 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 bump. Like that. You know, do a whole bunch. Do a little, not spray, but sprig. When you call that a sprig? Oh, I got a square around my face. All right. So anyways, you know, maybe put some holly over there, just to show that, you know, you have some symbol of Christmas. And then here, I got to get the name so I don't misspell it. But here we would take the name and we are going to do Jolabokaflod. And I'm going to actually, I think, take this over into Photoshop, pick out a cool looking font and make that look like it is cross-stitched into the pillow. Be cool. But, you know, I talked about yesterday when we're concepting out about trying to incorporate the different elements of the design into each other. That way it looks holistic and complete, and looks like every part of it belongs there. It doesn't look like you just came in with a lot of t-shirts that you see, especially, you know, they'll have the wings in the background, and then they'll have, you know, a sword and a knife and maybe a skull. You know, it looks like some kind of haphazard tattoo, where you can tell that they just dropped a bunch of clip art on top of each other and arranged it. You know, we want to actually create something that is a little bit higher quality, something we actually spent some time on, reflects a little bit about who we are, and hopefully we're creating something that is meaningful and is not so cookie cutter, and people will want to come back to the greatest gift shop in the world, especially online. It's called actually AskPTs and gifts, but online it's askpts.com. You know, highly recommend everybody go over there. Just tremendous place, great designs. Really got to meet that designer. Anyways, so that's what we're gonna do with the pillow. You know, I was thinking that we might, you know, show the edge of the bed here like this, and show some of a headboard back here just kind of poking out, you know, with some runic design, some Nordic runes. You know, I thought that would look kind of cool, and we could make it look like woodcut, like we did on the Thanksgiving t-shirt. You know, kind of that kind of rustic woodcut look into the headboard. You know, and that might be over designing it. I don't know. It might look cool. I am not afraid to over design at any point ever. You can ask every person who edits anything that I've ever done. I am more than happy to over design anything. And that's usually what I do. And then by the time it gets to print, it's about half of the design that I started with. But that's a good thing. The people that we have that edit it down are excellent. And they do improve it greatly. But I do like to sit here and doodle and design these things. And so this is the direction that we are going. Let's turn off that layer. And we'll get back to our pillow. Let's check in on the time. You know, it's 20 minutes to 1 o'clock here on at Eastern Standard Time. And I started late because I had the problem with the sound. I apologize. I am going to do the drawing this afternoon, and we'll have a winner for this week's drawing tomorrow. But still, if you make a comment today, you are going to be entered into the drawing next week. Now, if you are watching this at any point during the upcoming week and you make a comment, we're still going to come back and look, and please do. So if you're watching a replay of this, please still comment, and you will be entered into our drawing. Now, you don't have to say anything. You know, you have to talk about, you know, what a handsome man I am, or how articulate, and you know, anything else that, you know, might pop into your head about this stream. But you could just say hi, or one thing that I love is finding out where people are watching this from. We've had people from Scotland, and we've only been doing this 2 weeks, but from Europe. I'd love to, you know, we get a lot of people that buy our stuff from Australia. So I would love to have somebody from Australia watching our stream, and of course all over the United States and Canada. So anyways, just, you know, say where you're watching from, say hi, you know, it would be appreciated. And keep in mind that we are working on
Jolabokaflod.
Right? So, and we are going to make a killer t-shirt, and even better, I'm going to put this on a tote, and it's going to look great. So let me know how the sound is also on this stream. I've had real challenges trying to get everything coming through the desktop, the mic, everything else coming through together. My next challenge is going to be figuring out how to aggregate all the chat so I'm not clicking through tabs as I'm doing this. So if you have any insights there, please share them with me. I would love it. It would make my life a lot easier. So anyways, I'm going to wrap things up here, say goodbye, and thank you very much for watching. And we just... Ta-da! It gives you chills, right? It's wonderful. So have a great day, and we will see everybody tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We are going to start this on time unless I get a message that the audio is all messed up. I'm going to go back and watch it now, and then I will have a lot of time before the stream tomorrow to get it fixed. Thanks so much for watching, and this is going to be a great t-shirt, our great design. I'm very excited about it, and we will get going on it tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.